Think about the moments when you don't want to move, don't want to work, don't want to face the day. That's the exact moment discipline decides your future. The truth is, motivation comes and goes, but discipline is the only thing that carries you when your feelings betray you. Every successful person you admire has one thing in common: they act, not because they feel like it, but because they trained themselves to do it anyway. So ask yourself right now, will you let your excuses control your life? Or will you take command, even when it's uncomfortable? Because the life you want is waiting, and discipline is the key that unlocks it. Chapter 1. No excuses. Why discipline matters more than motivation. Excuses are the most subtle chains that keep people bound to mediocrity. They sound reasonable, they feel justified, and they even protect your pride in the moment. But the truth is, every excuse is a decision to stay the same. Discipline, on the other hand, is a declaration of growth. It doesn't ask if you feel ready, it demands you to show up, regardless of your feelings. Motivation is a spark, but sparks burn out quickly. You cannot build your life around a feeling that disappears the moment conditions get hard. Discipline is the firewood, steady, reliable, and strong enough to keep the flame alive when the spark fades. Without discipline, motivation dies before it ever creates results. The difference between ordinary people and those who achieve greatness is not talent, not luck, not even motivation. It is the refusal to make excuses. It is the discipline to rise when others are sleeping, to work when others complain, and to stay consistent when others quit. Discipline is what separates dreamers from doers. Every excuse is rooted in comfort. The mind whispers, "You're too tired," or "You'll start tomorrow," and comfort feels safe in that moment. But comfort costs you more than effort ever will. The pain of discipline is temporary, but the pain of excuses lingers for a lifetime, in the form of regret. Excuses are attractive because they shift responsibility away from you. They blame the weather, your mood, your circumstances, or other people. But discipline looks at the same situation and says, "I will act anyway." Discipline reclaims responsibility, and with it power. Excuses take your power away. Discipline gives it back. When you rely on motivation, you're asking the world to cooperate with your feelings, but the world doesn't bend that way. Some days will be cold, heavy, and uninviting. If you wait for motivation, you'll never begin. Discipline is the decision to stop waiting and start moving, no matter how you feel. The strongest people in the world are not always the most inspired. They are the most disciplined. They build habits that protect them from their weaker moments. They know that when motivation disappears, habits will keep them aligned with their goals. That is the real strength, not feeling ready, but acting anyway. Motivation is emotion-driven, but discipline is value-driven. Feelings fluctuate wildly, but values remain constant. If you anchor your actions to discipline, you're no longer controlled by how you feel in the morning. You're guided by the deeper principle of who you want to become. Excuses often disguise themselves as logic. "I need rest," or "It's not the right time," sound reasonable. But if you peel back the layers, you'll find fear hiding underneath. Discipline confronts that fear and takes a step forward anyway. You don't need perfect conditions, you need consistent courage. Discipline is freedom, but excuses are prisons. Excuses lock you into cycles of delay, frustration, and stagnation. Discipline, though painful in the moment, unlocks the freedom to live the life you want. Every disciplined choice is a key turning inside the lock of your potential. Excuses shrink your world. Every time you choose one, you say no to growth, no to strength, no to possibilities. Discipline expands your world. Every time you act in spite of resistance, you say yes to growth, yes to strength, yes to opportunity. Excuses contract. Discipline expands. Think about the people you admire most. Chances are they didn't get there because they always felt motivated. They got there because they made no excuses. They trained when tired, studied when bored, worked when uninspired. They lived by discipline, and that's why their lives became examples for others. Excuses sound loud at first, but their voices weaken once you act. The hardest part of any task is the beginning. Discipline silences excuses by stepping forward before they can multiply. Once you take action, momentum builds, and the excuse fades into the background. Motivation may get you started once, but only discipline sustains you for years. A motivated day may help you lift a heavy weight, but disciplined years will build an unshakable body. A motivated burst may spark an idea, but disciplined work will turn it into a reality. Motivation is momentary, discipline is permanent. Excuses thrive in the dark corners of your mind. They grow when you dwell on them, repeat them, and nurture them. But discipline is like light. It burns them away with action. The moment you move, excuses lose their power because they can't survive in the presence of momentum.
When you live by excuses, you betray your future self. You hand over tomorrow's potential for today's comfort. But discipline is a gift to your future self. Every disciplined action plants a seed that grows into the life you truly want. Excuses steal the future. Discipline secures it.
Excuses build weakness. Discipline builds strength. Each time you say not today, you strengthen the muscle of procrastination. Each time you say now, even when you don't feel like it, you strengthen the muscle of resilience. The choice compounds. What you repeat becomes who you are. Discipline doesn't mean you never rest. It means you rest with intention. Excuses disguise laziness as rest, but true discipline knows the difference. It understands that rest is a strategy, not an escape. Excuses use rest to avoid growth. Discipline uses rest to prepare for it. Excuses tell you stories. Discipline demands evidence. Excuses say you'll fail anyway, but discipline says prove it by trying. Excuses say it's too hard, but discipline says do it once, then again. Excuses live in the imagination. Discipline lives in results. No one ever looks back and feels proud of their excuses. They look back and feel proud of their discipline. They feel proud of the mornings they got up early, the nights they pushed through fatigue, the days they showed up when it was hardest. Pride is not born from comfort but from discipline. Excuses create illusions of safety. They convince you that avoiding effort will keep you comfortable. But comfort zones are not safe, they are cages. Discipline is risky, yes, but risk is where growth and strength are found. Excuses keep you safe and small. Discipline makes you strong and free. The mind craves ease, but the soul craves growth. Excuses serve the mind's desire for comfort, but discipline serves the soul's longing for expansion. Living by excuses may feel good for a day, but living by discipline fulfills you for a lifetime. Motivation may inspire you to write down goals, but discipline forces you to live them. Excuses will decorate your notebook with dreams, but only discipline will turn pages into progress. The difference between a wish and a reality is discipline. Excuses often echo the voices of others. Maybe someone told you you're not capable, and now you repeat it to yourself. But discipline is the moment you break that cycle. It says, I will not be defined by what I was told. I will be defined by what I choose. Motivation is external, but discipline is internal. Motivation relies on videos, books, or speeches to pump you up. But discipline comes from within. It's the quiet decision no one sees. External voices may fade, but the internal discipline you build will carry you for a lifetime. Excuses focus on the problem. Discipline focuses on the solution. Excuses magnify obstacles, making them look impossible. Discipline shrinks obstacles by attacking them step by step. Excuses see walls. Discipline builds ladders. Discipline is not about punishment, it's about alignment. It's aligning your actions with your goals, even when your feelings rebel. Excuses break that alignment, pulling you in every direction except forward. The habit of excuses is contagious. Allow one, and it opens the door to many more. But discipline works the same way. One disciplined action breeds another, and soon consistency takes over. What you tolerate multiplies. Choose carefully. Excuses always sound louder in the moment than they do in memory. When you give in, you realize later how small the obstacle really was. But when you act with discipline, you look back and see how one choice of strength changed everything. Excuses appeal to laziness, but discipline appeals to greatness. Deep down, you don't admire comfort, you admire strength, consistency, and achievement. Living by excuses may soothe you now, but only discipline will fulfill you later. Excuses focus on feelings, discipline focuses on decisions. Feelings change minute by minute, but decisions create legacies. You cannot build a life on unstable feelings, but you can build one on disciplined decisions. When you build a habit of discipline, excuses stop even showing up. Your body moves before your mind argues. Your feet walk into the gym. Your hands open the book. Your pen touches the page. Because discipline has automated what excuses once delayed. Excuses pretend to protect your energy, but they drain it instead. The guilt and regret that follow excuses take more energy than the effort would have. Discipline may feel heavy at first, but it energizes you afterward. Excuses focus on what you lack. Discipline focuses on what you can control. Excuses say, "I don't have enough time," but discipline says, "I'll use the time I have." Excuses say, "I don't have resources," but discipline says, "I'll work with what's available." Discipline transforms identity. When you consistently act despite resistance, you stop seeing yourself as weak and start seeing yourself as strong. Excuses reinforce weakness. Discipline rewires your identity into resilience. Excuses will always exist. Life will always provide reasons not to act. The question is not whether excuses are real, but whether you'll let them rule you. Discipline is the choice to rule over excuses, not be ruled by them. Excuses delay dreams until someday, but discipline turns dreams into today. Someday is not on the calendar. Discipline is the only way to make sure your goals live in reality, not just imagination. Living by excuses guarantees regret. Living by discipline guarantees growth. Even if you fail, you will know you tried, learned, and grew. Excuses teach nothing but avoidance. Discipline teaches everything about courage. Excuses are easy, discipline is hard, but that is exactly why discipline matters more. Anyone can follow feelings, but only a few can follow through without them. Those few are the ones who change their lives and inspire the world. At the end of your life, you will not wish you had made more excuses. You will wish you had been more disciplined, because discipline builds the body, mind, and spirit that carry you to the best version of yourself. Excuses rob you of that chance. The first step to freedom is simple: no more excuses. You do not need perfect timing, perfect resources, or perfect feelings. You need discipline. And once you live by it, you'll see what was always true. Discipline is not the enemy of freedom, it is the key to it. Chapter 2: The Pain of Comfort versus the Reward of Effort. Comfort feels good in the moment, but it carries a hidden cost. The soft couch, the skipped workout, the easy choice, all of these seem harmless now, but they accumulate into regret. Discipline requires effort, which feels heavy in the moment, but it creates pride, strength, and freedom later. Comfort gives pleasure now and pain later. Effort gives pain now and freedom later. The human mind is wired to avoid discomfort, but growth lives on the other side of it. When you avoid effort, you are not protecting yourself, you are starving yourself of progress. Comfort tricks you into thinking you are safe, but in reality, it keeps you stuck in the same place. Comfort zones shrink over time. What once felt safe begins to feel suffocating. If you stay in comfort too long, you start to fear challenges even more. Effort, however, expands your capacity. The more you stretch yourself, the more capable and confident you become. Comfort numbs you, but effort awakens you. A life of ease dulls your energy, drains your ambition, and leaves you restless. A life of effort, though tiring in the moment, fills you with vitality. Your body grows stronger, your mind sharper, your spirit lighter. The pain of comfort is subtle. It doesn't hurt immediately. Instead, it shows up as frustration years later. You realize you wasted time, avoided challenges, and missed opportunities. The reward of effort is also subtle at first, but it grows into lasting pride and achievements that shape your destiny. When you choose comfort, you borrow happiness from the future. When you choose effort, you borrow discomfort from the present. One choice creates debt, The other creates investment. Over time, the investments of effort compound into a life of freedom. Comfort feeds weakness, effort feeds strength. Every time you surrender to comfort, you reinforce the muscle of avoidance. Every time you choose effort, you reinforce the muscle of resilience. The stronger muscle always wins, so choose wisely which one you train. The pain of comfort is regret. It's lying awake at night wishing you had started earlier, worked harder, or pushed further. The reward of effort is peace. It's knowing you showed up, did your best, and left nothing on the table. One haunts you, the other heals you. Comfort is cheap pleasure. It gives you satisfaction without cost, but also without depth. Effort is meaningful pain. It demands energy and sacrifice, but it delivers transformation. A life built on comfort is shallow. A life built on effort is fulfilling. When you choose comfort, you're choosing to avoid the battle. But avoiding the battle doesn't make it disappear, it only delays it. The pain will still come, but now it arrives in the form of lost chances and diminished potential. Choosing effort means facing the battle now so you can enjoy peace later. The world celebrates effort, not comfort. Athletes, leaders, creators, and visionaries are remembered because they embraced effort when others avoided it. Nobody writes history about the person who chose comfort. Legacy is carved through sweat, sacrifice, and persistence. Comfort weakens identity. It convinces you that you're fragile, incapable, and undeserving of more. Effort strengthens identity. Each time you push through resistance, you prove to yourself that you're powerful, capable, and worthy of greatness. The pain of comfort is invisible until it's too late. It creeps in quietly, turning days into wasted weeks and weeks into wasted years. The reward of effort is visible every day. You see it in stronger habits, better health, sharper focus, and deeper confidence. Choosing comfort makes life predictable but empty. Choosing effort makes life challenging but meaningful. One gives you a slow death of the spirit, the other gives you a vibrant, purposeful existence. Which one you choose determines the quality of your life. Comfort is the slow poison of ambition. It whispers, rest now, you can try later, until later never arrives. Effort is the antidote. It pushes you to act before you're ready, and in doing so, it keeps ambition alive. Effort is uncomfortable because it forces growth. Muscles tear before they grow. Minds stretch before they sharpen. Habits hurt before they solidify. Without effort, there is no expansion. Without expansion, there is no life worth living. The pain of comfort is self-betrayal. Deep down, you know you're capable of more, but you choose less. The reward of effort is self-respect. You look in the mirror and see someone who refuses to settle. That respect is worth every ounce of discomfort. Comfort trades discipline for indulgence. It offers you another episode, another scroll, another excuse. Effort trades indulgence for growth. It offers you stronger habits, greater discipline, and long-term freedom. The trade is always yours to make. Comfort is addictive because it gives instant gratification, but instant gratification always has a hidden price. Effort delays gratification, but the payoff is greater. Choosing effort is choosing to wait for the reward that truly matters. The pain of comfort multiplies. The more you avoid effort, the more effort begins to scare you. Soon, even small challenges feel overwhelming. The reward of effort multiplies too. The more you push through, the more capable you feel. Soon, even big challenges seem possible. Comfort tells you to play it safe, but playing safe eventually feels unsafe because you're unprepared for life's storms. Effort prepares you. It equips you with resilience and strength, so when storms come, you stand unshaken. The pain of comfort is mediocrity. It traps you in an average existence where nothing changes. The reward of effort is excellence. It pushes you toward the edge of your potential, where transformation happens. Comfort feels like rest, but it's actually decay. Effort feels like struggle, but it's actually growth. One erodes your capacity, the other builds it. One takes away from your life, the other adds to it. One takes away from your life, the other adds to it. Comfort lies to you saying, "This is enough," but your soul knows it isn't. Effort tells you there is more in you, and your soul knows it's true. Living by effort honors your deepest desires. Living by comfort denies them. The pain of comfort is boredom. It drains excitement because nothing new ever happens. The reward of effort is adventure. It keeps life alive with challenges, victories, and lessons that give every day meaning. Comfort is the enemy of progress. It wants you to stop moving, stop trying, stop risking. Effort is the ally of progress. It pushes you to keep going, keep learning, and keep growing. One kills momentum, the other fuels it. The pain of comfort is subtle laziness disguised as peace. True peace comes not from avoiding challenges, but from conquering them. Effort brings real peace because it silences the voice of regret. Comfort is like quicksand. At first it feels soft and safe, but the longer you stay, the deeper you sink. Effort is like a climb. At first it feels steep and exhausting, but the higher you go, the more breathtaking the view. The pain of comfort is limitation. You live inside boundaries you never test. The reward of effort is expansion. You break through walls you once thought impossible. Effort turns limits into stepping stones. Comfort feeds procrastination. Effort feeds momentum. When you choose effort once, it gets easier to choose it again. Momentum builds and soon effort becomes second nature. Comfort has the opposite effect. The more you choose it, the harder it is to escape. The pain of comfort is stagnation. Nothing grows in stagnant waters. Life becomes repetitive, predictable, and uninspiring. The reward of effort is growth. Growth keeps life fresh, challenging, and rewarding. Comfort delays fulfillment. It promises happiness later, but never delivers. Effort creates fulfillment in the long run. Each step, each sacrifice, each disciplined choice brings you closer to a life you're proud of. Comfort is selfish. It says protect yourself at all costs. Effort is generous. It says give your best even when it's hard. Effort not only changes you but also inspires others. Comfort hides, effort shines. The pain of comfort is weakness disguised as ease. The reward of effort is strength disguised as struggle. What looks like hardship today becomes power tomorrow. What looks like ease today becomes weakness tomorrow. Comfort builds excuses. Effort builds execution. The more you excuse yourself, the less you achieve. The more you execute, the more you accomplish. Life respects action, not excuses. Comfort convinces you to avoid effort to save energy, but in truth, it drains you with restlessness and guilt. Effort may tire your body, but it energizes your soul. The satisfaction of discipline is worth more than the ease of laziness. The pain of comfort is invisibility. You blend in unnoticed because you never pushed yourself beyond average. The reward of effort is visibility. You stand out because you dared to do what most avoided. Effort makes you memorable. Comfort convinces you to quit when it gets hard. Effort convinces you to push further. That one extra push, that final attempt, often makes the difference between failure and breakthrough. The pain of comfort is dependency. You depend on circumstances being easy to function. The reward of effort is independence. You learn to thrive even when conditions aren't perfect. Effort makes you strong on the inside. Comfort feels safe, but it kills dreams silently. Effort feels risky, but it breathes life into dreams. Dreams are not born in comfort, they are forged in effort. At the end of your life, you will not regret the effort you gave. You will regret the comfort you clung to. The soreness fades, but the strength remains. The sweat dries, but the results live on. The price of effort is temporary. The reward is eternal. Chapter 3. Building routines that survive low-energy days. Anyone can be disciplined on a high-energy day. When you wake up rested, inspired, and motivated, action feels natural. The real test of discipline is when your body is tired, your mind is heavy, and your emotions whisper, "Not today." That's when routines matter most. A strong routine carries you forward when willpower alone cannot. Routines are the safety nets of progress. They catch you when motivation slips and protect you from falling back into excuses. A routine is not about doing everything perfectly every day. It's about having a structure that keeps you moving forward, even if slowly, especially on your weakest days. Low-energy days are inevitable. Life is full of stress, lack of sleep, emotional struggles and unexpected setbacks. Waiting for perfect conditions is a trap. Routines help you act regardless of conditions. They anchor you in habits that survive storms of fatigue. A routine should be simple, not complicated. Complex systems collapse when energy is low. Simplicity ensures sustainability. On hard days, you don't need 10 steps. You need 1 or 2 core actions that keep momentum alive. Simplicity is the secret weapon of strong routines. Consistency matters more than intensity. Too often, people believe they need to give 100% effort every day. That belief leads to burnout. Strong routines focus on consistency, not perfection. Even 40% effort, done consistently, will outlast bursts of 100% followed by collapse. Think of routines as autopilot. When energy is low, decision-making feels heavy. If you have to think about every step, you'll likely quit. But if your routine is ingrained, your body moves automatically. Autopilot habits remove the burden of choice on tired days. Micro-actions are essential. Instead of forcing yourself to do an entire workout, commit to 5 minutes. Instead of writing 5 pages, write a paragraph. Small actions often create momentum that carries you further than you expected. A tiny spark can still light the fire. Strong routines also involve minimum standards. These are the non-negotiables you do no matter what. Even on your worst day, you drink water, stretch, journal 1 line or make your bed. Minimum standards protect your identity. They remind you, I keep going even when I feel low. Preparation makes routines bulletproof. When you set out clothes the night before, prep meals in advance or organize your workspace, you reduce friction. Low-energy days demand less thinking when preparation has already been done. Preparation today is protection tomorrow. Routines are not just physical, they are mental. A mental routine could be repeating affirmations, visualizing progress, or breathing deeply. Mental anchors keep you steady when your mind wants to wander into excuses. A strong mind routine fuels a strong life routine. Low-energy days require flexibility. Discipline doesn't mean rigidity. If you can't run, walk. If you can't write for an hour, write for 10 minutes. Flexibility ensures progress instead of paralysis. Effort matters more than perfection. Stacking habits is powerful. Connect a new action to something you already do automatically. If you drink coffee each morning, pair it with reading 1 page of a book. If you brush your teeth at night, use that time to reflect. Habit stacking reduces resistance by attaching effort to existing rhythms. Routines thrive on cues. A cue is a trigger that reminds you of your habit. Music, alarms, or even locations can act as signals. On low-energy days, cues become external reminders to keep going. Without cues, tiredness often wins. Accountability strengthens routines. When you tell a friend, join a group, or track progress publicly, you create external pressure. On days when your energy is low, accountability pulls you forward. Alone, excuses whisper louder. With accountability, discipline speaks louder. Identity-based routines are the strongest. Instead of saying, I need to work out, say, I am someone who trains daily. When habits are tied to identity, you follow them even when tired. The goal is not to do the routine. The goal is to be the kind of person who never skips it. Environment matters. A messy, noisy, or distracting space will kill your discipline on low-energy days. Create an environment where good routines are easy and bad choices are hard. When your surroundings align with your goals, effort feels lighter. Tracking builds momentum. When you see progress marked on paper or an app, you're motivated to keep the streak alive. Low-energy days don't erase your work. They remind you of how far you've come. The visual evidence of progress becomes fuel. Rewards reinforce discipline. On low-energy days, small rewards help you push through. A cup of tea after finishing work, a relaxing break after a workout, or a quiet walk after writing can motivate you to finish tasks. Rewards train your brain to enjoy discipline. Morning routines are powerful because they set the tone. Even on a tired day, if you can win the morning with small victories, you create momentum for the rest of the day. Discipline in the first hour shapes discipline in the next 10. Evening routines are just as important. Reflecting on your wins, preparing for tomorrow, and resting properly ensure you don't spiral downward. Low-energy days often come from poor evenings before. Evening routines prevent tomorrow's struggle. Routines thrive on repetition. The more you repeat a habit, the less energy it requires. Eventually, brushing your teeth, exercising, journaling, or meditating becomes automatic. On low-energy days, repetition is your ally because habits require less thought and more action. Break routines into smaller pieces. If writing for an hour feels impossible, break it into 2 30-minute blocks or 4 15-minute blocks. Chunking tasks makes them manageable. Even on hard days, small wins add up to progress. Low-energy days demand self-compassion. Discipline is not about self-punishment, it's about self-respect. Forgive yourself if you can't give your best. Do what you can, no matter how small. Compassion keeps you consistent without burning out. Music can be part of your routine. The right playlist sparks energy, focus, and rhythm. On days when willpower is low, music acts as borrowed energy. Build playlists for different tasks and moods, so you always have an external push ready. Visualization is another tool. Picture yourself finishing the task, enjoying the result, or living the life you're building. On tired days, your body may not want to move, but your mind can still lead. What the mind sees clearly, the body often follows. Routines should include rituals of reset. Meditation, stretching, or a short walk can reset your state when energy crashes. Instead of quitting, you reset and return. These rituals transform low-energy dips into renewed effort. Energy management is crucial. Don't waste your best energy on distractions. Use your peak hours for your most important tasks. On low-energy days, protecting your limited focus ensures you still make progress on what matters most. Hydration and nutrition are invisible parts of routines. Often what feels like laziness is actually dehydration or poor diet. Drinking water and eating clean fuel your energy levels. Discipline isn't only mental, it's physical too. Break the all-or-nothing mindset. Many people quit on tired days because they can't do everything. But progress doesn't require perfection. Doing something, no matter how small, keeps the chain alive. Low energy is not an excuse for zero effort. Anchor your routines to purpose. On low-energy days, ask yourself, why does this matter? Remembering the bigger goal makes the small task worth it. Purpose is stronger than fatigue. When purpose is clear, effort follows. Build routines around priorities, not noise. On tired days, eliminate distractions. Focus only on the tasks that push you forward. Don't waste limited energy on things that don't matter. Minimalism in routines is power. Journaling is a low-energy routine that builds clarity. Writing even a few sentences clears the mind, reduces stress, and reinforces focus. Small acts of reflection create big shifts in resilience. Gratitude rituals protect perspective. On low-energy days, negativity grows louder. Gratitude shifts focus back to abundance. Writing down 3 things you're thankful for can change the emotional tone of the entire day. Discipline requires lowering resistance. Lay out your tools, clear the workspace, prepare in advance. On tired days, if you have to fight friction, you'll quit. Reduce resistance, and you'll find even low energy can achieve progress. Routines can include accountability check-ins, a message to a friend, a quick progress update, or a coach's review keeps you on track. Accountability bridges the gap when your personal drive is low. Don't underestimate rest as part of routine. Power naps, early bedtimes, or small breaks can refuel energy. Resting strategically is not quitting, it's maintenance. Tired days often become strong days tomorrow if rest is intentional. Celebrate micro wins. Completing a small habit may not feel dramatic, but it matters. Low-energy days require recognition of small victories. Celebration reinforces consistency and keeps motivation alive. Low-energy routines are not about doing everything. They're about protecting momentum. If you cannot run, walk. If you cannot study for hours, read a page. If you cannot give 100%, give 20%. Progress, however small, is still progress. The reward of resilient routines is pride. At the end of the day, you won't remember how tired you were. You'll remember that you kept going. Pride is the true fuel of discipline, and each low-energy day you conquer strengthens the identity of someone who never quits. Routines are the bridge between your weakest days and your strongest self. They prove that progress is not built only on passion or energy, but on consistency. When you live by routines, low energy cannot stop you. It only teaches you that discipline is greater than feelings. Chapter 4. Turning small daily actions into big life shifts. Big transformations rarely come from one dramatic leap. They come from the quiet power of small, consistent actions. Each small choice may feel insignificant on its own, but when repeated over time, it reshapes your life in ways you cannot imagine. The difference between who you are now and who you want to be is hidden in those daily decisions. Small daily actions compound like interest. Just as a small investment grows into wealth, small habits grow into massive change. One glass of water improves hydration, one workout strengthens health, one page of reading sharpens the mind. Alone they seem minor, but together they create unstoppable momentum. The beauty of small actions is that they are within your control. You cannot always control outcomes, but you can control whether you take the next step. This focus on the controllable keeps you consistent, even when results take time to appear. Small actions keep you moving forward when big results feel far away. Many people overestimate what they can do in a day but underestimate what they can do in a year. Small habits practiced daily prove this truth. You may not see change in a week, but look back after months, and you will see a completely different person staring at you in the mirror. Small actions rewire identity. Each time you choose discipline over excuses, you cast a vote for the kind of person you want to become. Over time, those votes accumulate, and your identity shifts. You no longer just do the habit, you become the kind of person who lives by it. Big goals often intimidate and paralyze people. Lose 50 pounds, write a book, start a business, feel overwhelming, but breaking them into daily actions makes them approachable. Run 1 mile today. Write 1 page, make 1 phone call. Small actions break giants into manageable pieces. Small habits eliminate the excuse of "I don't have time." Everyone can drink more water, take the stairs, or read for 5 minutes. Waiting for a free hour is unrealistic. Using the 5 minutes you do have creates momentum. Time excuses die when you focus on small actions. Discipline grows through small commitments. It's easy to think you need monumental willpower, but willpower is built in small doses. Each time you keep a tiny promise to yourself, you strengthen self-trust. Over time, small commitments build unshakable discipline. Small daily actions shape environments. When you tidy your desk, make your bed, or organize your space, you create order. Order outside builds clarity inside. That small act of preparation influences how you approach everything else in your day. Momentum doesn't come from grand gestures, but from steady steps. Imagine pushing a heavy boulder. One big push may move it slightly, but consistent small nudges eventually get it rolling. Small actions create momentum that even obstacles cannot stop. Small actions lower resistance. The mind resists huge tasks, but it rarely resists something tiny. Telling yourself to work out for an hour may feel daunting, but telling yourself to do 5 push-ups feels easy. Once started, momentum often carries you further. Greatness is hidden in ordinary days. People look for magic breakthroughs, but the truth is, magic happens when ordinary days are filled with consistent small actions. Ordinary discipline repeated daily becomes extraordinary results. Small habits are sticky because they fit naturally into life. Drinking water before coffee, stretching after brushing teeth, or journaling before bed require little extra effort. They attach to existing rhythms, making consistency easier. Big dreams collapse without small foundations. A skyscraper requires a strong base before it rises. Likewise, your goals require daily discipline before breakthroughs appear. Ignoring the foundation leads to collapse. Respecting it leads to stability. Small actions outlast motivation. On days when you feel uninspired, you may not manage a massive task, but you can still do something small. That one small act keeps the streak alive and reminds you that discipline matters more than feelings. Consistency turns small actions into unstoppable force. A drop of water seems powerless, but repeated drops carve valleys in stone. The same is true for habits. Small efforts repeated with consistency carve strength into character and results into life. Small actions protect against overwhelm. When the mind screams about the size of a goal, shifting focus to the next small step silences fear. You don't have to climb the whole mountain today. You only have to take the next step forward. Even failure is softened by small actions. Missing one small step is recoverable. Missing a massive, unsustainable effort feels like collapse. Small actions create grace. You can fall and get back up without losing progress. The reward of small habits is often delayed, but it is also multiplied. Eating clean for one day doesn't change much. Eating clean for 1 year changes everything. That's why discipline must trust the process, not the immediate result. Small actions simplify progress. Instead of waiting for inspiration or perfect conditions, you focus on what you can do now. Perfectionism dies when you shift to action, because small steps eliminate the need for flawless execution. Accountability strengthens small actions. Tracking habits with a journal, an app or a friend creates proof of progress. Each mark builds momentum. Seeing progress builds pride, and pride fuels more action. Small acts of courage matter too. Speaking up once, saying no once, or trying something new once may not seem significant, but those small acts add up to a bolder, freer version of yourself. Courage compounds like all habits. Your future self is shaped by the small choices of today. Every decision to move, read, eat clean, or rest strategically is a gift to the person you will become. Each time you act, you're building a life your future self will thank you for. The beauty of small actions is accessibility. They don't require genius, wealth, or extraordinary talent. They require consistency. That makes transformation available to anyone willing to embrace small steps daily. Small actions transform mindsets. Each time you show up, even in a tiny way, you prove to yourself that excuses don't control you. That proof builds confidence. Confidence makes larger steps possible. It all begins small. When you neglect small actions, you send yourself a message, I can't trust myself. Over time, this erodes self-belief, but keeping small promises rebuilds it. Trust grows not from grand victories, but from daily follow-through. Small routines accumulate into identity. If you read daily, you become a reader. If you train daily, you become an athlete. If you practice kindness daily, you become compassionate. You are what you repeatedly do, not what you occasionally dream. The strength of small actions lies in momentum, not intensity. It's better to walk daily than to sprint once and stop for weeks. Sustainable growth always beats explosive bursts that fade. Progress is not about speed, but about consistency. Small actions create ripple effects. Drinking water improves focus, which improves productivity, which improves results. Each habit touches other areas of life. The smallest shift can create waves of transformation. Small actions don't require waiting. You don't need permission, money, or perfect timing. You can begin right now. That immediacy makes them powerful. They eliminate excuses because they demand no special conditions. Small victories reprogram the brain. Every time you complete a habit, dopamine rewards you. That chemical reinforcement makes you more likely to repeat it. Over time, small wins reshape your brain to crave discipline instead of avoidance. Habits create freedom. Small routines remove decision fatigue, freeing your mind for creativity and problem-solving. On low-energy days, habits carry you. On high-energy days, they accelerate you. Either way, they build freedom. Small actions create stability. When life feels chaotic, habits act as anchors. Even drinking water, stretching, or journaling reminds you that you still have control. That control provides confidence in uncertain times. Effort compounds silently. You may not notice small changes at first, but others will. They will see your body stronger, your mind sharper, your confidence brighter. Small actions reveal themselves not in days but in seasons. The strength of small actions lies in persistence. Quitting resets progress. Continuing multiplies it. Even when change is invisible, each action is stacking bricks in the foundation of your future. The reason small actions work is because they bypass resistance. Huge goals overwhelm the brain, but small steps trick it into moving forward. Once in motion, momentum often carries you further than you planned. Transformation is not one giant leap. It's thousands of small steps. You cannot predict which step will create the breakthrough, so you must commit to them all. Breakthroughs happen unexpectedly, but only for those who show up consistently. Even on bad days, small actions keep your identity alive. Doing one push-up, writing one sentence, or drinking one glass of water reinforces that you are still the kind of person who keeps going. Small actions protect your self-image. Discipline grows lighter when habits grow stronger. At first, small actions feel like effort. Eventually, they become automatic. When habits take over, effort feels natural. That's when transformation becomes unstoppable. Big life shifts are rarely loud. They are quiet, built in invisible moments when you chose effort over excuses. They don't happen in one dramatic day. They happen in thousands of small ones. And that is why small actions matter more than anything. Chapter 5. Training the mind to obey, not negotiate. The human mind is powerful, but left untrained, it becomes your greatest enemy. It will argue, delay, and negotiate every step of the way. Just 5 more minutes, it says. Start tomorrow, it whispers. Training the mind to obey, not negotiate, is the essence of discipline. Negotiation with yourself always ends in compromise. When the alarm rings, the mind suggests snoozing. When it's time to exercise, it offers excuses. Obedience eliminates debate. You act without bargaining, and in that obedience lies freedom from wasted energy. The mind is like a child. It tests boundaries until it learns rules. If you allow negotiation, it will push further each time. But if you enforce obedience, it adapts. Over time, the mind learns that resistance is useless. When you decide, action follows. Negotiation drains energy before the task even begins. Debating whether to work, study, or train exhausts mental strength. By deciding once and obeying always, you conserve energy for action instead of wasting it on arguments. Obedience is not weakness, it is strength redirected. When your mind obeys, you control it. When it negotiates, it controls you. The difference between leaders and followers, achievers and dreamers, lies in who commands the mind. Training the mind starts with clarity. If your goals are vague, your mind has room to argue. Maybe later thrives on uncertainty. But when you know exactly what to do and when, negotiation disappears. Clarity kills excuses. Repetition builds obedience. Every time you follow through, you strengthen neural pathways. The mind learns through habit. At first, resistance is loud, but with consistent obedience, resistance weakens and obedience becomes automatic. The mind loves comfort, but comfort is the enemy of growth. If you let your mind negotiate, it will always choose the easier path. Training it to obey ensures you choose the growth path instead, even when it's uncomfortable. Obedience requires identity. Stop saying, "I'll try," and start saying, "I am someone who follows through." When your identity is tied to discipline, negotiation feels unnatural. The mind aligns with the self-image you reinforce. Small wins train obedience. You don't begin with massive challenges. Start by keeping tiny promises. Wake up when the alarm rings. Drink water. Write a paragraph. Each completed promise teaches your mind that you mean what you say. Negotiation often disguises itself as logic. You need more rest. It's not urgent yet. You'll be more focused later. These sound reasonable but are lies in disguise. Obedience recognizes the trick and acts anyway. The mind is a master storyteller. It weaves narratives that justify laziness, but results don't come from stories, they come from action. Obedience cuts through stories and goes straight to execution. Training the mind requires discomfort. Each time you act against comfort, you build strength. Over time, discomfort loses its sting. What once felt impossible becomes normal, and the mind stops resisting because obedience is expected. Accountability accelerates obedience. When you share goals, track progress, or face consequences, the mind knows negotiation won't save it. Accountability removes the option of quitting, forcing obedience into practice. Visualization strengthens obedience. Picture yourself acting instantly, completing the task, enjoying the reward. The mind responds to images, and rehearsing obedience mentally makes it easier to execute physically. Rituals anchor obedience. Morning routines, pre-workout stretches, or pre-study habits tell the brain it's time. Rituals bypass negotiation by associating cues with action. The body moves before the mind argues. Negotiation thrives in hesitation. The longer you wait, the louder excuses become. Obedience requires immediacy. Act before the mind has time to argue. The faster you begin, the quieter resistance becomes. Training the mind to obey builds trust. Each time you keep a promise to yourself, trust deepens. Each broken promise weakens trust. Self-trust is the foundation of confidence, and obedience is how you build it. The battlefield is often the first 5 minutes. If you survive the initial negotiation, the rest is easier. The mind resists starting but rarely resists continuing. Obedience means breaking through the beginning and letting momentum carry you. Negotiation thrives in vagueness, but obedience thrives in structure. Set specific times, places, and actions. Work out at 7 a.m. in the gym leaves no room for debate. Work out sometime today invites endless negotiation. The mind respects evidence. Each act of obedience becomes proof that you are disciplined. Over time, proof becomes belief. Belief becomes identity, and identity eliminates negotiation altogether. Obedience requires separating feelings from actions. Your feelings are not commands, they are suggestions. Train your mind to act according to decisions, not emotions. Feelings change, discipline remains. The mind learns patterns quickly. If you reward negotiation with avoidance, it learns that excuses work. If you reward obedience with action, it learns that resistance is pointless. What you reward, you repeat. Obedience grows stronger with accountability to yourself. Journaling, tracking, and reviewing progress remind the mind of its commitments. Without reflection, negotiation slips in unnoticed. With reflection, it's exposed and eliminated. Negotiation breeds weakness in other areas of life. If you let the mind win in one small thing, it will push further into bigger areas. Obedience in small actions spreads into larger victories. The standard you set becomes the standard you live by. Obedience removes decision fatigue. When action is automatic, you save energy for bigger choices. Negotiation multiplies fatigue because you debate endlessly. Discipline simplifies life by turning goals into non-negotiable habits. The mind resists because it fears discomfort. But discomfort is temporary. Obedience teaches the truth. The task is never as painful as the mind predicted. Most suffering exists in anticipation, not in action. Obedience is not harshness, it's alignment. It means aligning your daily actions with your deeper goals. Negotiation betrays your goals for temporary comfort. Obedience honors your goals with consistent effort. The mind is like a muscle. It strengthens through resistance. Each act of obedience is a rep. At first it feels heavy, but over time the weight feels lighter. Train it daily, and obedience becomes effortless strength. Obedience requires clarity of purpose. When you remember why the task matters, negotiation loses power. Purpose transforms effort from a burden into an honor. The stronger your why, the easier your obedience. Negotiation thrives on distractions. Notifications, temptations, and interruptions fuel excuses. Obedience thrives in focus. Protect your environment from distractions, and you'll protect your mind from unnecessary battles. Training the mind is about consistency, not perfection. You will slip, but each return to discipline retrains the mind. The act of returning is itself obedience, and it proves that failure is not final. Obedience is freedom from regret. Negotiation may give you relief in the moment, but regret always follows. Acting in discipline may hurt now, but pride follows. Regret lasts longer than discomfort. Obedience protects you from it. The mind needs evidence of reward. Celebrate obedience, acknowledge progress, enjoy the pride of follow-through, and let the brain link obedience with positive feelings. Rewards make the path sustainable. Negotiation keeps you stuck in thought. Obedience pushes you into experience. You cannot think your way to discipline. You must act your way there. Each time you obey without debate, you prove that action is more powerful than thought. Training the mind means becoming your own commander. Soldiers don't negotiate orders, they act. Treat your decisions the same way. When you commit, follow through. Respect your own authority enough to obey it. Negotiation is endless, but obedience is simple. Negotiation creates mental storms. Obedience is a straight line. Decide, act, repeat. Life feels lighter when you stop debating with yourself and start following through. The ultimate test of discipline is whether your mind serves you or controls you. When trained to obey, the mind becomes your greatest ally. When left to negotiate, it becomes your worst enemy. Training determines which one it will be. The reward of obedience is confidence. You walk taller, think clearer, and act stronger because you know you can trust yourself. Negotiation creates doubt. Obedience creates certainty. Certainty is the foundation of greatness. At the end of the day, the choice is simple. Do you want a mind that argues with you, or a mind that obeys you? Train it daily, make your decisions clear, act without delay, and refuse to negotiate with excuses, because the person who controls their mind controls their destiny. Chapter 6. How to push through when you feel weak. Weakness is not a sign of failure, it is a sign of being human. Everyone faces moments when the body aches, the mind feels heavy, and the heart lacks energy. What separates those who succeed from those who surrender is not avoiding weakness, but learning how to push through it. When you feel weak, your first instinct is to stop. The mind magnifies the discomfort, turning a temporary struggle into a mountain of impossibility. But weakness is often a liar. The body can go further, and the spirit can endure more than you think. Pushing through reveals strength hidden beneath the surface. Strength is not built on easy days. It is forged in the fire of weakness. Each time you act despite exhaustion, you prove to yourself that discipline is stronger than feelings. Weakness may slow you down, but it cannot stop you unless you let it. Pushing through when weak requires focusing on the next step, not the entire journey. Thinking about the full weight of the task will overwhelm you. But if you tell yourself, just one more rep, one more page, one more minute, you break weakness into manageable pieces. When you feel weak, your mind becomes dramatic. It convinces you the effort is unbearable. But often, the hardest part is starting. Once you move, momentum kicks in and the weakness fades. Action is the antidote to the illusion of incapacity. Discipline is deciding that weakness is not an excuse. Everyone feels tired, unmotivated, and doubtful at times, but winners act anyway. The difference is not in how strong they feel, but in how they respond to feeling weak. Breath is a powerful tool when pushing through. Controlled breathing calms panic, steadies rhythm and supplies energy. When weakness threatens to overwhelm you, focus on your breath. Each inhale fills you with strength, each exhale releases doubt. Weakness tests your purpose. If your why is shallow, you will quit, but when your why runs deep, it fuels you through fatigue. Purpose gives meaning to pain, and pain with meaning is always bearable. The body adapts when pushed beyond its comfort zone. Muscles tear so they can rebuild stronger. Endurance stretches so it can last longer. Each time you push through weakness, you are teaching your body and mind to handle more. Weakness is not an end, it is a signal of growth. When you feel weak, simplify. Don't overthink, don't plan perfection. Just take the smallest possible action. Stand up, move forward, lift once, write one line. Simplicity cuts through weakness because it removes excuses. Weakness is a doorway to resilience. If you never faced moments of low energy or doubt, you would never learn how much you are capable of. Each struggle endured expands your limits. Resilience is born in moments when giving up feels easier than going on. Your environment matters when you feel weak. Surround yourself with reminders of strength, inspiring music, powerful words, supportive people. Weakness grows louder in isolation, but in the presence of encouragement, it loses its grip. Self-talk is crucial. In weakness, the mind repeats, "I can't." Replace it with, "I will try, then I can." Language shapes reality. Speaking strength, even when you feel none, plants seeds of power that grow through persistence. Rest, when used wisely, is not weakness but strategy. Sometimes pushing through means pausing briefly to reset, not quitting altogether. Short rests can renew energy, while quitting only reinforces defeat. Know the difference between rest and surrender. Weakness often peaks right before breakthrough. The last mile of the run, the final rep of the workout, the closing hours of a project, that is when the body and mind scream loudest. Push a little longer, and you'll discover the transformation you were chasing. When you feel weak, remember that others depend on your strength. Whether it's family, friends, or your future self, someone benefits from your persistence. Responsibility pulls you forward when energy cannot. Visualization helps during weakness. Imagine the finish line, the reward, the pride of completion. See yourself already having conquered the task. The mind responds to vivid images, and those images supply energy when the body feels drained. Weakness shrinks when you focus on progress, not perfection. Instead of obsessing about doing everything flawlessly, celebrate doing something at all. Each imperfect effort is better than quitting. Effort matters more than elegance. Discipline in weakness builds unshakable confidence. When you push through on hard days, you prove to yourself that nothing can stop you. That confidence follows you into every challenge, making future battles easier to endure. Weakness is temporary, but the lessons are permanent. The body recovers, the mind refreshes, the spirit regains strength. But the resilience earned in those low moments remains forever. Every weakness survived adds to the armor of your character. Focus on gratitude when weak. Remind yourself that weakness means you are alive, capable, and still fighting. Gratitude reframes struggle into opportunity. What feels like burden becomes blessing when you shift perspective. Weakness often lies in the story you tell yourself. "I can't handle this" becomes a prophecy. Change the story to, "I am capable of one more step," and the body follows. The story you believe determines the strength you display. The mind exaggerates weakness because it fears failure. But weakness is not failure. Quitting is. As long as you keep moving, no matter how slowly, you are winning. Weakness cannot defeat someone who refuses to stop. On weak days, lower the standard but not the commitment. If you can't run 5 miles, walk 1. If you can't write a chapter, write a paragraph. The key is to show up anyway. Showing up when weak is the purest form of discipline. Weakness is universal. Every champion, every leader, every achiever has felt it. What makes them different is their choice to act anyway. You are not alone in weakness. You are simply facing the same test greatness has always required. Pushing through weakness strengthens faith in yourself. Each time you endure, you learn that your limits are farther than you thought. The next time weakness comes, you face it with greater certainty. Faith grows with every act of persistence. Break tasks into milestones when weak. Don't focus on finishing everything. Focus on reaching the next marker. Once you reach it, aim for the next. This step-by-step approach transforms overwhelming weakness into manageable effort. Weakness invites excuses, but excuses multiply suffering. They relieve pressure temporarily but create regret later. Action may feel hard now, but it creates pride later. Choose the pain that builds you, not the one that breaks you. When you feel weak, remember that storms don't last. Fatigue, doubt, and pain are passing clouds. Push forward knowing that clarity, energy, and strength will return. Weakness is temporary. The progress you create is permanent. Weakness often reveals your true priorities. If the task matters deeply, you will endure. If it doesn't, you will quit. Use moments of weakness as tests to discover what you truly value. The body has reserves you rarely tap into. Science shows you can push much further than your mind tells you. Weakness often signals only the first barrier, not the final one. Push past the false wall and you'll find strength waiting. Support systems matter. Share your struggles with someone who understands. Encouragement from others can supply the strength you lack. Weakness feels lighter when carried together. Faith is fuel in weakness. Believing in something greater than yourself gives meaning to pain. Trusting that your struggle serves a bigger purpose helps you endure. Faith makes weakness survivable, even transformative. The reward of pushing through weakness is pride. At the end of the day, you won't remember how tired you were. You will remember that you didn't quit. Pride outlasts fatigue. That pride becomes fuel for tomorrow. Weakness will always appear on the journey to greatness. Accept it as part of the process. Don't fight its existence. Fight through its resistance. Expect weakness, prepare for it, and conquer it each time it comes. Discipline is not about avoiding weakness but mastering it. Anyone can act when strong. True discipline acts when weak. The ability to move forward in weakness defines resilience. Resilience defines champions. When you feel weak, lean into routine. Let habits carry you when willpower fails. Routine is the rope that pulls you through when weakness tries to drag you down. Build routines strong enough to survive your lowest days. Self-respect grows each time you conquer weakness. Quitting chips away at confidence. Pushing through restores it. The respect you feel for yourself after enduring outweighs any comfort quitting could give. Weakness often hides breakthroughs. The wall you face is often the gateway to the next level of strength. Push a little further, endure a little longer, and you'll step into growth you didn't know was possible. At the end of your journey, you will not remember every easy day. You will remember the days you felt weak, yet kept going. Those are the days that define you. Weakness doesn't diminish your strength. It proves it by giving you the chance to rise. Chapter 7. Discipline is freedom. The paradox explained. At first glance, discipline and freedom seem like opposites. Discipline looks like restriction, rules and sacrifice, while freedom looks like choice, ease and spontaneity. But in truth, discipline is what creates freedom. Without it, you become a prisoner of laziness, chaos and regret. Freedom without discipline is an illusion. The person who eats whatever they want feels free, but soon becomes trapped by poor health. The person who spends money carelessly feels free, but soon becomes enslaved by debt. True freedom is only found in discipline, because it protects you from long-term bondage. Discipline is structure, and structure creates room to live fully. Think of a river. Without banks, water floods aimlessly, destroying everything. With banks, it flows powerfully and gives life. Discipline is the banks of your life. Without it, you flood. With it, you flow. The paradox of discipline is that it feels heavy in the moment, but light in the long run. Freedom feels light in the moment, but heavy later. Eating junk food now feels easy. Suffering with low energy later feels hard. Working out now feels hard. Living with health later feels easy. Discipline is a trade, temporary pain for lasting peace. Discipline in time management creates freedom in life. If you schedule your priorities, you gain hours to pursue your dreams. Without discipline, time slips through your fingers, wasted on distractions. Discipline turns time into opportunity. Money is another example. Discipline in spending creates financial freedom. Saving and investing may feel restrictive now, but it builds the freedom to live without fear tomorrow. Lack of discipline in money may feel freeing now but becomes slavery later. Health thrives on discipline. Choosing to sleep on time, eat clean and move daily gives you the freedom to live strong, pain-free and active. Neglect feels like freedom until illness chains you down. Discipline preserves health. Freedom without it destroys it. Discipline in work creates freedom in choice. Those who consistently show up, refine their craft, and work with focus gain freedom to choose projects, careers, and lifestyles. Those who chase comfort remain trapped in jobs they hate. Effort today creates freedom tomorrow. Relationships also require discipline. Respect, honesty, and commitment may feel like rules, but they create the freedom of trust, love, and peace. Without discipline, relationships fall into chaos, resentment, and brokenness. The paradox of discipline is that it demands sacrifice. You must give up certain comforts now, but what you gain is far greater: self-respect, strength, and the ability to design your life. Comfort may feel sweet today, but it robs you of choice tomorrow. When you live without discipline, you become a slave to your feelings. If you only act when you feel motivated, your life is controlled by moods, not decisions. Discipline liberates you from emotional slavery. It teaches you to act regardless of feelings. Discipline doesn't limit your options, it multiplies them. The disciplined writer has the freedom to publish. The disciplined athlete has the freedom to compete. The disciplined student has the freedom to choose opportunities. Discipline opens doors, comfort keeps locked. The freedom discipline creates is long-lasting. Motivation fades, and indulgence satisfies only briefly, but the fruits of discipline endure. Strong health, financial stability, inner peace, and respect from others, these are freedoms built only through discipline. Freedom feels good now but may cost you later. Discipline feels hard now but rewards you later. The question is simple: do you want comfort today or freedom tomorrow? Those who choose discipline consistently are the ones who enjoy lasting freedom. Discipline protects you from regret. Every excuse feels freeing in the moment, but it builds a prison of what-ifs and if-onlys. Discipline may sting now, but it ensures you never look back with shame. The freedom from regret is one of life's greatest gifts. Discipline builds self-control, and self-control is the foundation of freedom. Without control, impulses rule you. With control, you rule your impulses. Discipline teaches you that true freedom is mastery over yourself, not indulgence in everything. The paradox is clear: when you restrict yourself from harmful choices, you actually expand your life. Saying no to unhealthy habits gives you yes to energy, confidence, and strength. Saying no to wasted time gives you yes to progress and purpose. Discipline is choosing long-term happiness over short-term pleasure. Comfort whispers now, but discipline answers for years to come. Freedom without discipline is short-lived. Discipline without freedom is short-sighted, but together they create a life of balance. Freedom without discipline is chaos. Discipline without freedom is tyranny. But discipline practiced with purpose creates balance, the freedom to live without chains, and the structure to grow without limits. Think of music. Freedom allows notes to exist, but discipline arranges them into harmony. Without discipline, sound is noise. With it, sound becomes beauty. Life works the same way. Discipline organizes chaos into meaning. Discipline is not punishment, it is preparation. It prepares you for storms, tests, and challenges. With preparation comes freedom. Freedom from fear, freedom from insecurity, freedom from being unready. The disciplined person experiences true rest. They can relax without guilt because they know they've done the work. The undisciplined person rests, but feels anxious, haunted by unfinished tasks. Discipline creates the freedom to truly enjoy peace. Freedom from addiction, whether to food, technology, or laziness, only comes through discipline. Addiction feels like freedom at first, but it enslaves you. Discipline looks restrictive, but it breaks chains and restores control. Discipline creates confidence, and confidence is freedom. Confidence gives you freedom to speak, act, risk, and try. Without discipline, confidence crumbles. With it, you walk boldly into opportunities. True freedom means not being ruled by weakness. When you let laziness decide, you are not free, you are trapped. Discipline trains you to rise above weakness, giving you freedom to live by choice, not compulsion. Discipline brings financial freedom, physical strength, and mental peace, but it also brings something deeper, spiritual freedom. When you master your desires, you are no longer enslaved to them. That mastery is the highest form of liberation. The paradox confuses many because discipline hurts in the beginning. But the truth is, freedom hurts more in the end if it's undisciplined. A life of indulgence looks sweet but ends in bitterness. A life of discipline feels bitter but ends in sweetness. Discipline builds habits, and habits build lives. Once a habit forms, it no longer feels restrictive, it becomes automatic. That automatic discipline frees your mind and energy for bigger goals. What once felt like effort becomes effortless freedom. Freedom is not the absence of rules, it is the presence of the right rules. Without traffic rules, roads become deadly. Without discipline, lives become wasted. The right rules don't restrict life, they protect it. Discipline reveals possibilities. Each act of self-control shows you that you are capable of more than you thought. Freedom without discipline blinds you to potential. Discipline expands it by proving you can handle what you once feared. A disciplined schedule is not a prison but a pathway. It ensures that the most important things get done, freeing you from the chaos of random living. Without discipline, time disappears. With it, time multiplies. Discipline is a form of love, love for your future self. Every disciplined choice is a gift. Every undisciplined choice is a theft. Freedom comes when you consistently honor your future self through daily discipline. Freedom without discipline leads to dependency. Dependency on luck, others, or circumstances. Discipline creates independence, the freedom to stand strong regardless of circumstances. Discipline forces you to confront reality. Freedom without it allows denial, but only by facing truth can you grow. And once you grow, you gain the freedom to shape life on your own terms. Discipline ensures freedom of mind. Without it, you are a prisoner of overthinking, procrastination, and guilt. With it, your mind is calm, clear, and focused. The freedom of mental clarity is worth every sacrifice. The paradox is simple. Easy choices create hard lives, while hard choices create easy lives. Discipline is the hard choice now, but it creates the easy life later. Comfort is the easy choice now, but it creates the hard life later. Discipline gives you freedom to say yes to opportunities. The undisciplined cannot say yes because they are unprepared. But when you've done the work, you are ready. Freedom is not about doing nothing, it is about being prepared for anything. Discipline gives life direction. Without it, freedom becomes drifting. With it, freedom becomes purpose. Direction is the difference between wandering and arriving. Discipline ensures you arrive where you want to be. The reward of discipline is choice. You get to choose your health, your career, your lifestyle, your relationships. Without discipline, those choices are stolen from you by bad habits, laziness, or external forces. The paradox of discipline and freedom is not meant to confuse but to awaken. It reminds you that comfort is deceptive, that indulgence enslaves, and that discipline is the doorway to liberation. Those who embrace it live fuller, freer lives. At the end of the day, discipline feels hard, but regret feels harder. Sacrifice feels heavy, but regret is unbearable. Discipline is the lighter burden, the one that gives you freedom from the crushing weight of what could have been. Discipline is freedom because it creates a life without limits. When you train your body obeys. When you train your mind obeys. When you discipline your habits carry you forward. That is freedom, the ability to live fully without being chained to weakness. Chapter 8. Sacrifices today that build tomorrow's strength. Sacrifice is the hidden currency of strength. Every powerful person you admire has paid a price in private that the world rarely sees. The hours given up, the comfort denied, the temptations resisted, these sacrifices build the foundation for tomorrow's victories. Sacrifice is not loss, it is investment. What you let go of today, you gain multiplied tomorrow. Skipping a night of laziness to study, saying no to unhealthy habits, or choosing discipline over distraction may sting now, but it builds resilience that lasts for decades. The pain of sacrifice is temporary, but the reward is permanent. When you endure small hardships today, you spare yourself greater pain in the future. The person who sacrifices comfort in training enjoys strength in competition. The one who avoids sacrifice now will face suffering later. Every sacrifice teaches your mind that your future is worth more than your present feelings. Feelings want comfort now, but vision demands discipline now. Sacrifice is proof that you value what you want most over what you want now. Small sacrifices stack into massive strength. Choosing water over soda, waking up 1 hour earlier, spending less to save more, these actions look small but compound over time. Strength is rarely built in dramatic leaps, it grows through daily choices. Sacrifice sharpens focus. By saying no to distractions, you say yes to clarity. Each denied temptation clears space for growth. Strength is not just built by what you do, but by what you refuse to do. The gym is a perfect metaphor for sacrifice. Every rep burns, every muscle aches, but the strength built is invisible until tested. Life works the same way. The sacrifices you make today may not show instantly, but they prepare you for the battles ahead. Sacrifice also builds patience. The world tempts you with instant gratification, but strength requires delay. Each time you wait, you build the muscle of endurance. Tomorrow's strength is forged in today's patience. Sacrifice is also protection. By giving up harmful pleasures today, you protect your future from destruction. The person who sacrifices reckless spending is free from financial slavery. The one who sacrifices laziness is free from missed opportunities. Sacrifices are hard because they demand faith. You give up something real now for something unseen later. That leap of faith builds not only strength but character. Every sacrifice is a declaration of trust in your future self. When you choose sacrifice, you gain control. Without sacrifice, life controls you through habits, cravings, and impulses. With sacrifice, you master yourself. Mastery is the essence of strength. Sacrifice often separates the good from the great. Many are willing to work when convenient, but few are willing to give up comfort consistently. Greatness is not about talent alone, it's about who is willing to sacrifice the most. Sacrifice requires vision. If you don't see a greater future, the pain of giving up today feels pointless. But when your vision is clear, sacrifice feels purposeful. Strength comes from seeing beyond the moment. Discipline and sacrifice walk hand in hand. Discipline is the act of showing up. Sacrifice is the cost of showing up. Together they forge the strength that carries you through the hardest seasons of life. Sacrifice builds mental toughness. Each time you choose effort over ease, you strengthen the belief that you can endure. Mental toughness is not inherited, it is forged in the fires of sacrifice. Sacrifice is love for your future self. It's telling tomorrow, I care enough about you to suffer a little today. Every sacrifice is an act of self-respect, a promise that you will not abandon your potential. Some sacrifices are visible, like hours spent training. Others are invisible, like resisting temptation when no one is watching. Both matter. The quiet sacrifices often build the deepest strength. Sacrifice creates gratitude. When you finally achieve success, you value it more because you know the cost. People who achieve without sacrifice often squander it. Sacrifice makes success meaningful. Sacrifice is proof of commitment. Talk is easy, sacrifice is evidence. Anyone can dream, but only those who sacrifice show they are serious. Strength respects sacrifice. The hardest sacrifices are often the most rewarding. Giving up bad relationships, toxic environments, or old habits hurts, but it clears space for strength, peace, and progress. Sometimes letting go is the strongest thing you can do. Sacrifice exposes your priorities. What you are willing to give up shows what you value most. If you sacrifice discipline for comfort, you value ease over growth. If you sacrifice comfort for growth, you value strength over excuses. Sacrifice transforms pain into purpose. When you feel the sting of denial, remind yourself it is fuel. Pain becomes meaningful when it contributes to progress. Without sacrifice, pain is wasted. With sacrifice, pain is invested. Sacrifice today is a shield for tomorrow. The disciplined student sacrifices parties for study and later enjoys freedom in career choices. The disciplined athlete sacrifices nights out for training and later enjoys victory. Sacrifice is insurance for the future. Sacrifice requires courage. It means standing apart from the crowd, refusing what everyone else embraces. But that courage builds strength, and strength sets you apart in ways comfort never could. Sacrifice humbles you. It teaches that nothing worth having comes easy. Humility keeps you grounded, reminding you that growth is earned, not given, that humility itself is strength. Sacrifice teaches patience with process. Results never appear overnight, but every small sacrifice builds momentum. The more you practice patience, the stronger your resilience becomes. Sacrifice is not punishment, it is choice. Punishment is forced, sacrifice is voluntary. The willingness to give up something now for a greater tomorrow is a mark of maturity and strength. Sacrifice makes victory sweeter. When you know how much you gave up to reach a goal, success becomes more than a trophy. It becomes a testament to your endurance, resilience, and discipline. Sacrifice builds resilience against failure. When you are used to discomfort, failure doesn't crush you. You already know how to endure loss. Sacrifice prepares you to rise after setbacks. Sacrifice strengthens faith in your abilities. Each time you endure, you prove to yourself you can withstand hardship. That self-belief becomes unshakable strength. Sacrifice is training for life's inevitable storms. Hardship will come whether you prepare or not. Sacrifice now ensures you have the strength to endure when life tests you. Sacrifice demands consistency. One great sacrifice is not enough. Strength is built through daily choices. The more consistent you are, the stronger your foundation becomes. Sacrifice connects you to greatness across history. Every achiever, leader, or visionary has sacrificed. Their strength came not from privilege, but from the price they were willing to pay. You walk the same path when you choose sacrifice. Sacrifice separates fantasy from reality. Dreams without sacrifice are illusions. Strength comes when you pay the cost of turning vision into reality. The cost is high, but the reward is priceless. Sacrifice sharpens discipline in all areas of life. When you sacrifice in one field, you find it easier to apply discipline in others. The strength you gain spreads, lifting your entire life. Sacrifice is contagious. When others see your commitment, they are inspired to endure as well. Your strength multiplies when your sacrifice motivates others. Sacrifice teaches you to let go of ego. It reminds you that growth requires humility, and humility is strength. Ego seeks comfort and recognition. Sacrifice seeks growth and resilience. Sacrifice requires faith in unseen results. Strength today is not obvious, but each choice builds silently. The person who trusts the process will see the fruits in time. Sacrifice teaches balance. You learn what is essential and what is excess. By cutting away excess, you direct all energy toward what matters most. Strength thrives in focus. Sacrifice is the bridge between who you are and who you want to be. Without crossing it, you remain the same. With each step of sacrifice, you move closer to the stronger version of yourself. Sacrifice ultimately creates freedom. Freedom from regret, weakness, and mediocrity. Freedom to live with confidence, health, and pride. Sacrifice today is not chains. It is the key to tomorrow's strength. Chapter 9. From Excuses to Execution. Rewiring your mindset. Excuses are the chains that keep people stuck in mediocrity. They sound convincing, they feel comforting, but they do nothing except delay progress. Execution, on the other hand, is the bridge that carries you from where you are to where you want to be. To live a disciplined life, you must rewire your mind from seeking excuses to choosing execution. Most excuses are dressed-up fears. I don't have time often means, I'm afraid to commit. I'm not ready often means, I fear failing. When you strip away the words, Excuses are simply fear in disguise. Recognizing this truth is the first step toward execution. Execution doesn't wait for perfect conditions. If you wait for clarity, comfort, or confidence before acting, you'll wait forever. Execution begins where excuses end, in the decision to act with what you have, right now, no matter how imperfect. The mind clings to excuses because they protect your ego. If you never try, you never fail. But avoiding failure is also avoiding growth. Rewiring your mindset means reframing failure as feedback, not shame. Execution thrives where excuses crumble. Excuses multiply when there is no accountability. When no one is watching, the mind justifies laziness. But when you hold yourself accountable through journaling, deadlines, or mentors, excuses lose power. Execution requires accountability. Excuses are addictive because they bring instant relief. You feel justified, safe, and comfortable. But comfort now means regret later. Execution is the opposite. Discomfort now, pride later. The choice is always between temporary comfort and lasting strength. The brain is a pattern machine. If you feed it excuses, it learns avoidance. If you feed it execution, it learns action. Each small act of follow-through rewires neural pathways, teaching the mind to prefer progress over procrastination. To shift from excuses to execution, change your language. Instead of saying, "I can't," say, "I choose not to." This forces honesty. When you stop lying to yourself, you strip away excuses and see the truth. Execution is always possible. Excuses thrive in vagueness. "I'll do it later" is an excuse because it lacks clarity. Execution thrives in specifics. "I'll do it at 7 p.m. creates a contract with yourself. Rewiring your mindset means replacing vague intentions with precise commitments. The transition from excuses to execution requires identity. If you see yourself as someone who always hesitates, you'll live out that story. But if you declare, "I am a person who executes," your actions will align. Identity shapes behavior, and behavior rewires the mind. Execution is strengthened by momentum. The more you act, the easier acting becomes. Excuses lose their grip once momentum carries you forward. Start small, but start. A single act of execution begins the process of rewiring. Excuses often rely on comparison. Others have more resources, more talent, more luck. Execution ignores comparison and focuses on what you can do today with what you have. Your race is yours alone. Excuses only distract you from running it. The mind often negotiates with comfort, offering logical reasons to quit. Execution silences negotiation with action. You don't debate, you do. Each time you choose execution, you weaken the habit of negotiation and strengthen the habit of obedience. Excuses shrink dreams. The more you justify delay, the smaller your vision becomes. Execution expands dreams. The more you act, the more possible your vision feels. The rewired mindset sees action as fuel for faith. Excuses create a false sense of control. You think you're in charge by saying no. But in reality, fear is in charge. Execution puts you back in control. Each action declares, "I lead, not my fear." That declaration rewires the brain for strength. Your environment feeds either excuses or execution. Surround yourself with negative, lazy voices, and you'll absorb their excuses. Surround yourself with disciplined, driven people, and you'll absorb their execution. Rewiring often requires changing your environment. Execution requires emotional discipline. You will rarely feel like acting. Excuses rely on feelings. Execution relies on decisions. The rewired mind no longer waits for motivation. It acts regardless of mood. Excuses live in the future. Someday, later, tomorrow. Execution lives in the present. It asks, "What can I do now?" This shift from future to present is the essence of rewiring. The future never comes, but the present is always here. Excuses create regret. Execution creates pride. Regret is heavy because it cannot be changed. Pride is light because it reminds you of your strength. The rewired mind chooses the pride of execution over the burden of regret. Execution teaches trust. Each time you act, you prove to yourself that your word means something. Excuses destroy trust. They whisper promises you never keep. Strength comes when your actions align with your words. Excuses waste time twice, first in delay, then in regret. Execution saves time twice, first in action, then in results. The rewired mind values time as the most precious resource, refusing to waste it on excuses. To rewire your mind, practice micro-execution. Don't wait for massive projects. Begin with small tasks. Wash the dish immediately. Answer the message now. These micro-wins retrain your brain to default to action instead of avoidance. Excuses feed weakness. Execution feeds strength. The mind becomes what you feed it. If you give it excuses, it grows fragile. If you give it action, it grows resilient. Rewiring is a diet. Starve excuses, feed execution. Excuses feel safe, but they build invisible prisons. Each time you say, "Not today," the walls grow higher. Execution breaks the prison brick by brick. With every action, you reclaim freedom. Discipline is the hammer that tears down excuses. Execution is about progress, not perfection. Excuses hide behind perfectionism. I'll start when it's ideal. Execution embraces imperfection. I'll start and improve along the way. The rewired mindset values movement over perfection. Excuses are mental habits. Execution is physical proof. You can argue with an excuse, but you cannot argue with a result. Each executed action silences excuses because results speak louder than words. The rewired mind understands that action creates clarity. Excuses wait for clarity before acting. Execution acts, and clarity emerges through action. You think your mind needs answers, but what it needs is movement. Excuses often pretend to be protection. They say, "Don't risk it," but avoiding risk is itself a risk. The risk of living unfulfilled. Execution accepts risk as part of growth. Strength is built in the unknown. Excuses are selfish. They protect comfort, but steal potential. Execution is generous. It gives your future self more opportunities, more freedom, more strength. The rewired mind chooses generosity over selfishness. Rewiring requires awareness. Start noticing every time you make an excuse. Write it down, confront it, replace it with an action. Awareness weakens the habit. Action builds a new one. Execution thrives on systems. If you rely only on willpower, excuses will win. But if you build routines, habits, and triggers, action becomes automatic. The rewired mind designs systems that leave no room for delay. Excuses are fueled by overthinking. Execution silences overthinking by starting. Once you move, thought aligns with action. The more you think, the less you do. The more you do, the less you fear. Execution creates resilience because it teaches you that you can act under pressure. Excuses create fragility because they teach you to avoid pressure. The rewired mind welcomes pressure as training, not as threat. Excuses drain self-respect. Each time you break a promise to yourself, you erode confidence. Execution builds self-respect. Each promise kept strengthens belief. Rewiring your mindset means valuing your word too much to betray it. The mind resists execution because it fears failure. But failure in execution is still progress. Failure in excuses is nothing. The rewired mindset understands that failure is a step forward, while excuses are standing still. Excuses chain you to the past. They remind you of every time you didn't act. Execution frees you into the future. Every action taken breaks the pattern of yesterday. Rewiring happens the moment you choose a new pattern. Execution doesn't require massive leaps. It requires consistent steps. Excuses demand nothing but leave you empty. Execution demands effort, but leaves you full. The rewired mind craves consistency more than comfort. Excuses are noise. Execution is signal. Noise distracts. Signal directs. Every action sends a signal to your brain. This is who I am. Over time, identity changes. The rewired mind identifies with execution, not avoidance. The greatest freedom comes from execution. Excuses make you a prisoner of what-ifs. Execution makes you a creator of results. To rewire your mindset is to decide, every day, that action matters more than excuses. At the end of your life, you won't regret the failures you endured. You'll regret the excuses you believed. Execution leaves scars, but excuses leave emptiness. Choose scars. They are proof that you lived with discipline and courage. Chapter 10. Learning to trust consistency over motivation. Motivation is a spark. It feels powerful, but it burns out quickly. Consistency, on the other hand, is a steady flame. It may not feel as exciting, but it keeps you moving long after motivation disappears. To live a disciplined life, you must learn to trust consistency more than fleeting motivation. Many people wait for motivation to act, but motivation is unreliable. Some days you wake up energized, other days you wake up heavy and tired. If you only work when motivated, you'll never build lasting progress. Consistency ensures action, even on days motivation is absent. Consistency is discipline in action. It means showing up whether or not you feel like it. Motivation may inspire you to start, but consistency is what carries you across the finish line. Without it, motivation fades into empty promises. The most successful people are not the most motivated. They are the most consistent. They don't rely on moods or feelings. They rely on habits and systems. Consistency turns dreams into reality because it converts intention into daily execution. Consistency builds trust with yourself. Every time you show up, you prove your commitment. Motivation may excite you, but consistency makes you dependable, and self-trust is the foundation of confidence and growth. Motivation feels good, but it's shallow. It's often tied to emotions, music, or speeches. But emotions fade. Consistency is deeper. It's tied to values and identity. It says, I am someone who shows up, no matter how I feel. Consistency is boring, and that's its strength. Motivation craves excitement, but excitement is temporary. Consistency thrives in repetition. It may feel ordinary, but ordinary actions repeated daily create extraordinary results. The gym proves this truth. Motivation might get you there once. Consistency keeps you going for years, and the body doesn't transform from a single workout. It transforms from repeated effort. Life works the same way. Consistency builds momentum. At first, it feels heavy to act every day, but with time, repetition makes action natural. Motivation relies on energy. Consistency builds energy through momentum. Once the wheel is turning, it becomes easier to keep moving. Motivation depends on conditions. Consistency depends on decision. The weather, your mood, or your circumstances can affect motivation, but consistency is built on non-negotiable choices. It removes conditions and replaces them with commitment. Consistency compounds like interest. Small actions done daily stack into massive progress over time. Motivation might lead to bursts of effort, but bursts don't build empires. Daily bricks do. Trust the compound effect of consistency. Consistency creates freedom. When you build habits, you no longer waste energy deciding whether to act. You simply act. Motivation asks, do I feel like it? Consistency answers, it doesn't matter, I do it anyway. Motivation is like weather, unpredictable. Consistency is like climate, steady. The rewired mindset stops chasing sunny days of motivation and learns to live in the steady climate of discipline. That climate guarantees growth. Consistency requires patience. Motivation seeks immediate results. It wants progress today, but consistency trusts the process, knowing that transformation is slow but inevitable. Patience is strength, and consistency trains it daily. Motivation often focuses on intensity, one huge effort. Consistency focuses on longevity, small efforts repeated. A single burst can inspire, but only daily effort sustains. Strength comes not from one moment, but from many. Consistency outlasts talent. Many talented people fail because they rely on motivation alone. Less talented but consistent people surpass them. Discipline and repetition always beat raw talent without follow-through. Consistency is built through structure. A routine removes choice and turns action into habit. Motivation asks you to decide daily. Consistency decides once and repeats. Structure is the backbone of consistency. Motivation is external. Consistency is internal. Motivation often comes from outside, a video, a book, a mentor. But consistency comes from within, from personal standards. It doesn't need to be fed, it simply lives in commitment. Consistency transforms identity. At first, you force yourself to act, but over time you stop forcing and start becoming. The runner no longer tries to run, they are a runner. Consistency rewires who you are. Consistency doesn't require passion every day. Some days you'll feel bored, tired, or distracted. That doesn't matter. What matters is showing up anyway. That's how consistency turns average effort into extraordinary growth. Motivation fades in failure. When things go wrong, motivation disappears, but consistency grows stronger in failure because it refuses to stop. Consistency learns, adapts, and keeps moving forward, no matter the setback. Consistency is also contagious. When others see you showing up daily, they respect it. They may even be inspired to act. Motivation excites people for a moment. Consistency inspires them for a lifetime. Consistency removes decision fatigue. You no longer ask, "Should I do this?" You simply do it. Motivation makes you debate. Consistency ends the debate before it begins. The energy saved is used for progress. Motivation is emotional, but consistency is logical. Emotions change daily, logic stays steady. Logic says, if I do this daily, I will improve. That truth remains, whether you feel motivated or not. Consistency is sustainable. Motivation burns out quickly because it relies on excitement. Consistency conserves energy by working at a steady pace. It may not be flashy, but it lasts. And lasting effort is what creates lasting change. Consistency is honest. Motivation can be deceptive. It tells you you're ready but leaves you when it's hard. Consistency tells the truth. It's hard, but I'll keep going. Honesty builds resilience. Consistency is humble. Motivation seeks recognition. It wants to feel proud, to be seen. Consistency doesn't need applause. It works quietly, faithfully, in the background. And when the results come, they speak for themselves. Consistency makes motivation unnecessary. Once you build a strong routine, you don't need to feel inspired. You simply follow the pattern. The habit carries you when motivation disappears. Consistency creates progress even in failure. A writer who shows up daily may write bad pages, but pages exist to improve. A writer waiting for motivation may write nothing at all. Consistency values imperfect action over perfect intentions. Consistency teaches delayed gratification. Motivation wants the reward immediately. Consistency is willing to wait, knowing that real growth requires time. The patient are always rewarded. Consistency builds resilience against excuses. Motivation easily accepts excuses. I don't feel good today. Consistency ignores them, showing up regardless. Every day you push through excuses. You train the mind to obey. Consistency creates self-respect. Each day you follow through, you reinforce your identity as disciplined. Self-respect grows not from talk, but from action, repeated daily until it becomes unshakable. Motivation may start the journey, but consistency guarantees the finish. Many begin with passion, but only those who endure with consistency reach the end. The winners are not the most excited, but the most persistent. Consistency also builds mastery. Motivation encourages trying. Consistency ensures practicing. Mastery requires thousands of repetitions. Motivation cannot carry you that far. Only consistency can. Consistency creates clarity. The more you act, the more you learn. Motivation waits for answers before acting. Consistency acts first and lets clarity unfold in the process. Consistency simplifies life. Instead of constantly seeking motivation, you build systems that carry you. That simplicity frees mental energy for creativity, problem-solving, and growth. Consistency is the great equalizer. You don't need to be the smartest, the strongest, or the most talented. You just need to be consistent. Over time, consistent effort beats inconsistent brilliance. Consistency is freedom. You no longer feel trapped by mood swings or fleeting feelings. You know that, rain or shine, energy or fatigue, you will show up. That knowledge liberates you from dependence on motivation. At the end of your life, you won't remember the days you felt motivated. You'll remember the discipline that carried you through. Motivation is a spark, but consistency is the fire that warms your entire journey. Chapter 11. Discipline creates confidence. Others can't break. Confidence is not born from compliments, luck, or talent. It is built through discipline. When you keep promises to yourself, when you show up daily, when you endure hardship and still move forward, that is where unshakable confidence is forged. Most people think confidence comes from achievements, but achievements without discipline are fragile. The person who stumbles into success doubts themselves. The person who builds success through consistent effort knows it was earned. That knowledge is confidence no one can take away. Discipline creates evidence. Each act of follow-through is proof that you can trust yourself. Over time, the evidence piles up, and self-belief becomes unshakable. Confidence is simply self-trust multiplied by discipline. Confidence built on appearance or approval is shallow. It crumbles when challenged. Confidence built on discipline is deep. It survives failure, rejection, and setbacks because it is rooted in the knowledge that you will always rise again. Discipline means doing what needs to be done, even when it's boring, painful, or inconvenient. Every time you push through discomfort, you show yourself your own strength. That repeated exposure builds confidence stronger than any words of encouragement. When you rely on external validation, your confidence belongs to others. But when your confidence comes from discipline, it belongs only to you. No insult, no rejection, no doubt from others can touch it. The gym is a perfect example. Each disciplined workout builds not only muscle but also belief. You learn that progress is earned, not given. The mirror reflects more than strength. It reflects confidence born from sacrifice. Discipline makes you reliable to yourself. Confidence comes when you know you won't quit on yourself. Others may betray you, circumstances may fail you, but if you are disciplined, you know you will endure. That certainty is confidence. Confidence is not loud, it is steady. Discipline doesn't make you arrogant, it makes you calm. You don't need to boast because your actions speak. True confidence is silent power built on daily discipline. When you keep small promises, confidence grows. Waking up on time, finishing tasks, training consistently, each act is a deposit in the bank of self-belief. Discipline is the currency, and confidence is the interest. Discipline transforms fear. Fear shrinks when you face it daily. Each time you do what scares you, you train your mind to see fear as fuel. That courage, born of discipline, becomes confidence that others cannot understand or shake. Discipline also creates consistency, and consistency builds mastery. Confidence flows naturally from mastery because you no longer guess at your ability, you've proven it through repetition. Mastery is confidence earned. Without discipline, confidence is fragile. It relies on moods, compliments, or luck. But with discipline, confidence is steady. It doesn't matter if you fail today because you know you will show up again tomorrow. Confidence built on discipline survives criticism. Someone may tell you that you're not good enough, but your discipline whispers back, "I've done the work, I've proven myself." That inner voice drowns out external noise. Discipline creates resilience. When you fall, you rise again. That resilience becomes confidence. You don't fear failure anymore because you know discipline will carry you back up. Confidence comes from scars. Each time discipline carries you through pain, you earn a scar of strength. Those scars remind you that you've survived worse before and can survive again. That memory fuels unshakable confidence. Discipline strips away excuses. Without excuses, there is only action, and each action taken builds confidence. Excuses weaken belief. Discipline strengthens it. Over time, the disciplined person walks with an assurance excuses can never provide. Confidence is contagious. When you live with discipline, others notice. They see your strength and consistency, and they feel your certainty. Your presence becomes inspiring, not because of what you say, but because of how you live. Discipline creates self-respect, and self-respect is the root of confidence. If you don't respect yourself, no one else's respect will ever feel enough. Discipline ensures that you live in alignment with your values, which creates deep respect for yourself. Confidence built on discipline does not fear challenges. In fact, it welcomes them. You know that discipline will prepare you, guide you, and strengthen you. Where others see obstacles, you see opportunities to prove your discipline again. When you live without discipline, doubt creeps in. You wonder if you'll quit again, if you'll waste time again, if you'll let yourself down. But with discipline, there is no doubt. Confidence is simply the absence of self-betrayal. Discipline creates predictability. You know that if you put in the work, results will follow. That certainty is confidence. Others may rely on luck, but you rely on the law of cause and effect. Effort in, results out. Confidence doesn't require arrogance when it's built on discipline. You don't need to tell people you're capable. You simply show them. Quiet, steady action is louder than empty confidence. Discipline creates delayed gratification, and delayed gratification builds confidence. Each time you wait for the reward, you learn that you can endure. Endurance turns into strength, and strength turns into confidence. Confidence built on talent alone is fragile. It fears being outworked. Confidence built on discipline fears nothing, because it knows effort will always prevail. Talent is a gift, but discipline is unbreakable power. Discipline strengthens the voice inside your head. That voice says, "I can do this. I've done it before, I'll do it again." No critic, no failure, no storm can silence that voice once it's built. That is confidence. Discipline creates stability. Even when life is chaotic, you have anchors, your routines, your habits, your systems. That stability gives confidence, because you are never completely lost. You always know where to begin again. Confidence is a mirror of your daily habits. If your habits are weak, your confidence will be fragile. If your habits are strong, your confidence will be unshakable. Discipline builds the habits that shape identity. Discipline removes dependence on motivation. You no longer wait to feel ready. You act, and that reliability creates confidence. You know you can trust yourself regardless of circumstances. Confidence built on discipline grows slowly but lasts forever. Like a tree, it takes time to plant and grow, but once rooted, storms cannot uproot it. Fragile confidence is like a flower, pretty but temporary. Discipline also builds focus. A scattered mind doubts itself, but a focused mind moves with clarity. Confidence is clarity in action, and clarity comes from disciplined focus. The enemy of confidence is inconsistency. Each time you quit, you weaken belief in yourself. Each time you persist, you strengthen it. Discipline ensures persistence, and persistence builds confidence brick by brick. Confidence doesn't need applause when it comes from discipline. It doesn't rely on anyone noticing. It knows its own worth. That independence makes it indestructible. Discipline also creates humility, and humility strengthens confidence. True confidence doesn't need to prove itself. It is secure because it is rooted in consistent effort, not external validation. Confidence built on discipline also brings peace. You no longer wonder, "Am I enough?" You know you are because you have the evidence. You've built it through sweat, struggle, and daily effort. Discipline teaches patience, and patience is a hidden form of confidence. You don't rush results because you trust they will come. That calm trust is the mark of someone who believes deeply in their own ability. Discipline builds courage. Each disciplined act proves that you can face fear, pain, and doubt. Courage is confidence in the face of uncertainty, and discipline feeds it daily. Confidence built on discipline cannot be stolen. People can insult you, mock you, or doubt you, but it doesn't matter. Confidence is no longer external. It's internal. forged in the fires of effort and repetition. Discipline transforms you into someone who doesn't flinch under pressure. While others hesitate, you move forward. That steadiness is confidence, not arrogance, not noise, but calm certainty that you are prepared. At the end of the day, true confidence is not about believing everything will be easy. It is about knowing you can endure when it's hard. And that belief only comes from discipline, from the daily practice of showing up again and again, no matter what. Chapter 12. Live a life where discipline becomes your identity. Discipline should not be something you practice occasionally. It should become who you are. When discipline is your identity, it stops being a tool you pick up when convenient and becomes the foundation of your life. It is no longer about what you do, it is about who you are. At first, discipline feels like an external force. You push yourself to wake up early, to eat right, to stay consistent. But with time it becomes internal. You no longer force it, it becomes natural. The disciplined action transforms into a disciplined identity. When discipline becomes identity, habits are automatic. You don't debate whether to work, you simply work. You don't question if you'll train. Training is who you are. This eliminates hesitation and makes your actions inevitable. Identity is powerful because it drives behavior more strongly than motivation. A smoker who says, "I'm trying to quit," still identifies as a smoker. But one who says, "I don't smoke," lives a new identity. The same is true with discipline. You must move from "I try" to "I am." Living a disciplined identity means aligning your choices with your highest values. It's not about external pressure, but internal integrity. You act with discipline because not doing so would feel unnatural. It becomes your default state. When discipline becomes your identity, you stop chasing short-term wins. You think long-term, knowing that every choice is part of a bigger picture. Small actions today are not isolated. They are proof of who you are becoming. Discipline as identity builds trust with yourself. You don't wonder if you'll quit anymore, because quitting isn't part of who you are. That certainty creates a deep peace of mind and an unstoppable confidence. Identity-driven discipline frees you from constant decision-making. You no longer weigh options every day. You simply follow who you are. The writer writes, the athlete trains, the leader leads. Identity makes consistency effortless. When discipline is identity, setbacks don't break you. You may stumble, but you rise again, because discipline is not something you do occasionally. It is the core of your being. Failure becomes a pause, not an ending. Discipline as identity transforms your self-image. You stop seeing yourself as lazy, weak, or inconsistent. You begin to see yourself as capable, resilient, and committed. Your life rises to meet the picture you hold of yourself. At first, identity may feel like belief, but over time, belief becomes truth through action. Every disciplined act reinforces the identity until it is unshakable. Identity is not spoken into existence, it is acted into existence. Discipline is freedom when it becomes identity. You are free from guilt, free from regret, free from wasted time. You no longer live in cycles of excuses because acting with discipline is simply who you are. When discipline defines you, people notice. They trust your word because your actions prove it. Respect follows naturally because people can sense reliability. You become someone whose presence inspires discipline in others. Identity-based discipline doesn't fear discomfort. Comfort is temporary. Identity is permanent. You endure the pain of effort because quitting would betray who you are. Your identity protects you from weakness. Living with discipline as identity simplifies your goals. You don't chase quick fixes. You live with patience, persistence, and faith in the process. The results take care of themselves because your identity ensures the work is done. Discipline as identity removes the battle with motivation. You don't wait for a spark to act. Action flows naturally because discipline is no longer optional. It's part of your DNA. When discipline is your identity, you begin to shape your entire environment around it. Your routines, your relationships, and your priorities all align with your disciplined self. Identity becomes the filter through which you build your life. This identity outlasts circumstances. Whether you succeed or fail in a single attempt, your discipline remains. Success does not inflate you, and failure does not break you. Discipline is steady because it is who you are, not what you feel. Living with discipline as identity creates legacy. Others will remember not just what you achieved, but the consistency, resilience, and integrity with which you lived. Your character becomes your greatest achievement. Discipline transforms from effort into instinct. At first it feels hard. Later it feels natural. Eventually it feels effortless. That is the power of identity. It makes extraordinary habits feel ordinary. Discipline as identity teaches humility. You no longer seek shortcuts or applause. You focus on the work itself, knowing that greatness grows from daily effort, not sudden bursts of luck. Identity-driven discipline creates alignment. Your actions, words, and goals match. That alignment makes you powerful because there is no conflict within you. You are one with your purpose. When discipline is your identity, comparison loses power. You no longer measure yourself against others. You measure yourself against yesterday. Progress, not competition, becomes your standard. Discipline as identity creates resilience against temptation. You don't argue with cravings or distractions. They simply don't fit who you are. It's easier to resist when your identity rejects weakness. Discipline builds unshakable faith in yourself. You know you can endure storms, rise after failure, and keep moving forward. That faith is not based on hope, it's based on proof, carved into your identity through years of action. Identity-based discipline is stronger than willpower. Willpower tires, identity lasts. Willpower says, I'll try today. Identity says, this is who I am every day. One fades, the other remains. Discipline as identity creates calm under pressure. Challenges don't shake you because you've trained yourself to persist. Your identity whispers, I was built for this. That calm is what separates the strong from the weak. When discipline is who you are, time becomes your ally. You don't panic about speed because you trust consistency. You know that each day builds on the last. Patience becomes easier because identity ensures progress. Discipline as identity removes guilt. You no longer regret wasted time or broken promises to yourself. You live with integrity, knowing your actions match your intentions. That alignment creates peace. When discipline defines you, even your failures carry dignity. You may lose, but you lose with effort, not excuses. That dignity strengthens confidence because you know you showed up regardless of outcome. Discipline as identity gives direction. Instead of drifting, you walk with clarity. Each day has meaning because every action ties into your disciplined character. Purpose becomes natural, not forced. Identity-driven discipline also fuels gratitude. You value progress because you know the effort behind it. Gratitude turns sacrifice into pride and effort into joy. Discipline as identity makes success predictable. You no longer wonder, will I make it? You know success is inevitable if you persist. Identity removes doubt because it guarantees action. When discipline is your identity, your standards rise. Mediocrity no longer feels acceptable. You demand more from yourself, not out of pressure, but because it's who you are. High standards become natural. Discipline creates self-respect, and self-respect strengthens identity. Each time you honor your word, you add another layer to the person you are becoming. Over time, that respect builds a fortress of confidence. Discipline as identity is not about perfection, it's about persistence. You may falter, but you never abandon the path. Returning again and again proves that discipline is woven into your character. When discipline becomes your identity, it shapes not just your actions, but your worldview. You see challenges differently, setbacks differently, even success differently. Everything becomes an opportunity to live your disciplined truth. Discipline is freedom when it becomes identity. Freedom from regret, from inconsistency, from weakness. You are no longer at war with yourself. Discipline wins because discipline is you. At the end of your journey, your achievements may fade, but who you became will remain. Living with discipline as your identity ensures that your life itself is the ultimate testimony, steady, strong, and unbreakable. You've just taken a journey through the truth about discipline. Maybe you came here looking for motivation, but now you know motivation is fragile, discipline is permanent. Every excuse you make takes you further away from the life you want, and every disciplined step, no matter how small, brings you closer. Discipline means showing up when it's boring, when it's painful, when nobody's watching. It's the invisible work that creates visible results. And the moment you decide to live by discipline, not feelings, you become unstoppable. So ask yourself, will you let another day slip by in excuses, or will today be the day you rise? The choice is always in your hands. If this audiobook gave you clarity, share it with someone who needs strength, and subscribe so you never miss the wisdom that transforms lives. Remember, discipline is freedom, and freedom starts with your decision today.